Before I go to the director, I'm going to ask Interim Director Martin, following my own advice, a question. Is there a name that you hear more often than others? I'm going to do it to everybody, so. Is there a name that you hear more often than others that's a problem when it comes to not following the law?
Senator Clark, as the former attorney supervisor over Central Arkansas, I have no choice but to answer your question and tell you that we have definitely had issues with Judge James's willingness to allow DCFS to place with relatives and willingness to issue orders of less than custody, which allow children in some instances to remain with a relative while we get an order to stop a parent who might be dangerous or putting that child at risk from getting the child. Those are the two main issues. As far as my attorneys, or my former attorneys, they do not complain of disrespect, though they have seen disrespect to DCFS workers.
Thank you. And I would like everyone on the committee to note the reluctance, not as to hold it against Ms. Martin, but the difficulty that we have going forward in that people know the problems, but it is very difficult for them professionally to tell us what the problems are, and then go back and have to work with me. And that's one. And I just want to tell you, part of my job in this is being a fullback. I played fullback for a while. I like tailback better. But as fullback, instead of getting to carry the ball and getting the glory, I get to go through the line first and seek the linebacker out and knock him out. And so, as long as I'm able, I'm going to help y'all solve these problems and take. If I have to take it on the chin, I'll take it on the chin. But if we're going to continue to say it's about the children, it's about the families, and we're going to have to take on every problem, and some of these are very big problems, and solve them. Director, I love the analogy. I use that myself that you attributed to Kisa about the pendulum, because that is one of my great reservations in the spring. As we were dealing with a case, and I was beginning to look forward and what direction should we go, is at the same time we had a problem there, and no doubt we had a problem in other places with maybe removing children that shouldn't be, and maybe keeping them when we shouldn't, at a great reluctance, because there's always the law of unintended consequences. Because there's the other side of it, is I don't want people in your agency to be so afraid that we're not removing children that ought to be removed. So I think that was a great analogy. You talked about early on was not conducive to a good work environment, to file appeals, etc. But filing appeals is the correct way. I mean, that's what the law calls for, right? If somebody's not doing what they're supposed to do, is to file an appeal or to complain.
Yes, sir.
So that shouldn't create a bad work environment. I mean, that means somebody's being petty and not really doing their job correctly if it creates a bad work environment. If you file an appeal or file a complaint and it causes problems in that work environment.
I would agree with you. It shouldn't impact.
Okay. And again, I hope judiciary is listening because we don't want in their business, but we'd like them to handle their business. Do you believe that judicial council is aware of these problems? Because there's not just one judge, is there?
No, sir, there's not just one judge. I do think that they are aware. I mean, I would think that they would have to be aware.
Do they have to wait for a complaint or for them to deal with some of these issues?
That is not my understanding, that they have to wait until there's a complaint. I mean, they're in dialogue with the judges about issues.
And let me mention, I'll testify here for just a moment. Children and Youth Committee, a few months ago, we had two judges come before us, a Supreme Court justice and I don't remember what the other judge was, Beals, I think. And I asked them at that time about this issue of judges not following the law, and they acknowledged that they had judges not following the law, and they thought it was an issue of training. So I hope they get the training done, or whatever else needs to be done. Is part of these problems, could part of these problems be because of conflicts that we have in AOC? The fact that we've got attorney ad litem, we've got parent counsel, we've got the judges all answering to the within the same place.
You know, I can't, say specifically that I think that that the issues are that. I do think that just looking at it with everyone under one roof and under the one leadership, regardless of how that is explained at times, it does promote, like I think in the Paul Vincent report, that you've got all these groups that come together against the agency. And then I think the fact that we're so transparent that we put ourselves out there, and then the other players within the court system they're not as transparent. So I think it makes it even harder to know what some of those issues are.